everyone. As you know, I have been talking a lot about the highly sensitive person out of the book, The Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine N. Aron. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about the first chapter, which is called The Facts About the Highly Sensitive Person.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
That she talks about in the book, in this first chapter, is intuition. So let's talk a little bit about intuition as a highly sensitive person. So when we talk about intuition, many highly sensitive people are spot on with their intuitions, meaning they get a gut feeling about something or someone or a mood of a room, and they are absolutely right. Or they just know something is not right, and they can tell what it is before anyone even tells them. Now, many people would say that this is a spiritual gifting or an astral gifting, this new age idea of the astral projections, and I don't get into that. I do believe that this is a spiritual gifting of discernment. That's what the spiritual world calls discernment. So intuition, discernment, it's kind of the same thing. You know something that's going to happen. You kind of know right before. You don't know every single detail. That would be a prophet. And I'm not a prophet by any means, although some people have in the spiritual world considered me to be prophetic, not pathetic, even though I can be pathetic at a lot of times. Because I'm a highly sensitive person, I am very pathetic sometimes. And I'm sure a lot of people watching who are subscribing to my channel would absolutely agree with me. Not pathetic, prophetic. So I don't consider myself to be prophetic. Some people do see me that way because I do have that intuition. I do have that discernment gift where I know. A good example was when my brother-in-law passed away. I didn't really know anything of the specifics. I just knew like a couple weeks before anything had happened, I just got this really weird feeling, and I told my husband, I got on my knees next to the bed and told him that somebody needs to really talk with the family about his brother and what was going on. I knew he was drinking, even though nobody had even talked about it. It was just something I felt in my gut. I knew it was happening, and I knew that this time, out of all the times that he had been drinking, and I had always known it internally, intuitively, I just knew that this time was not going to end positively if the family did not deal with it immediately. And they didn't. And my husband didn't take me seriously and decided that he didn't really want to deal with it. And the family didn't want to deal with it. And I told my husband, your brother will die before the end of this month if it is not dealt with. And that was the beginning of May. My brother-in-law died on May 27th of 2017. I knew this was happening. I knew it was coming. Sometimes I will just get feelings with my brother-in-law. I actually had a really bad panic attack and really believed I was going to die. I actually stopped breathing a couple times. I was actually saying my goodbyes to my family because I thought I was going to die. Seriously, I felt death coming over me. I felt death. It was a very bizarre feeling to have death hovering over you, but yet it's not for you. Some of you out there are probably going, oh my gosh, that's, so weird. Or some of you New Agers are saying, the astral projections or whatever. But for me, I just felt like God was giving me a prophetic warning that something was going to happen. And he was showing me that death was creeping around my family. And I knew it was going to happen, and I knew who it was going to happen to once I came out of it. That doesn't mean that everyone's always going to take you to heart or they're going to believe you. In fact, a lot of people find people like us to be absolutely crazy. They don't believe that we know what they're doing. They don't believe that we know what's happening, or that we can call something that someone's doing and know exactly why they're doing it. And then you find out like 2-3 weeks later, sometimes months or years later, and you go, see, I told you. And you don't want to be that person that's like, see, I told you. But you can't help it, because it solidifies what you said and what you were feeling and what you knew to be true in your heart. So when you say, see, I told you, it's not just for, you're not just telling the other person, see, I told you. You're actually telling yourself, see, I told you. That gifting can be really frightening if you don't know how to take hold of it. And for me as a Christian, I just have this belief in the Lord that He is never going to show me anything so horrifying that it will scare me. But I'm beginning to learn to trust that intuition rather than doubt it. Because a lot of times you'll start to doubt that intuition that you're having, that gut feeling that you know exactly what somebody's doing behind your back. You know the lies that they're telling. You know the games that they're playing. You know everything. And it's hard to have all that information and prove it, especially if you need to prove it. It's hard to do that. But as a highly sensitive person, we just have that gift to be able to know the games that people are playing. I always know when someone's lying to me. Like, it is one of those gifts that I love having, because I don't like being lied to. I don't like being lied about. So it is so easy for me to nail a liar. Like, I can just right off the bat. And if I don't have the proof, I get the proof. I'm just one of those people that, I will prove to you that you're lying, because I don't want to be lied to. And I don't want the rest of the world to think that your lies are the truth. So I will go out of my way to disprove somebody who is lying. I will go out of my way to make sure that they are exposed for the liars that they are. I am seriously that anal about liars. I cannot stand it. My intuition is I typically know when someone's lying to me, and I know exactly what they're lying about, and I know exactly how they're getting away with it. For a really, really long time in my life, I didn't trust those gut instincts. I didn't trust that intuition, and I always thought I was crazy until they started happening. And then I was like, something's got to be going on here, that every time I have this feeling that something's gonna happen, or I know that this person's doing that behind my back, and they are, I just started to learn to trust it when I became a Christian, because I started to look at it more from a Christian viewpoint rather than a me viewpoint. Like, this is me, and I'm just too sensitive, because that's what my mother would always say to me. You're just too sensitive. You're too sensitive to everything. A lot of people told me I was just too sensitive, and it just got really tiring. You get really tired of people telling you that you're just too sensitive. So you begin to doubt yourself, and you begin to think, oh, maybe something's wrong with me. When you get those instincts or intuitions or those feelings, those gut feelings, you turn it off, because you're afraid of it. You actually become afraid of yourself, and you start to say, no, I'm not going there. That's your personality. You have to go there. You have to listen to yourself, and you have to listen to that intuition. You have to listen to that voice that's telling you something's not right here, because you could possibly be the person that saves someone's life. If somebody had listened to me about my brother-in-law, maybe he'd still be living today. It's one of those things that I think of a lot, is if someone had listened to me, maybe, just maybe, he'd be with us today. Intuition is often right for a highly sensitive person. One of the things that Erin says in the book, get my granny glasses on with my little chains. I know y'all think I'm weird, but I lose these things all the time. Seriously, where's my glasses? Where's my glasses? So I had to go buy these stupid little chains. I'm not kidding. Like, they're just cheap little beads. And then when I lose them, my husband says, didn't you buy that thing that goes around it for a reason? I was like, yeah, but I don't want to wear them all the time. Okay, I got the granny glasses. Can we get that over with now? My granny glasses, okay? Because I know some of you are probably like, why is she wearing that? Because I'm old. Okay, so anyways, getting back, I know I go on these tangents and get weird, but that's why you like me, right? About intuition, Erin says are you ready for this? Because this is good stuff. Don't be discouraged about being a highly sensitive person and all the intuitions that you have that are spot on. Don't be afraid of it. I am telling you, hone it. Hone it in. Just reel it in, people. Just bring it in, accept it, trust it. Sometimes you might be wrong. That's okay. Erin says that we are visionaries, highly intuitive artists and inventors. Now, isn't that awesome to know that this gift of intuition brings forth a lot of those beautiful creative giftings that so many people in the world long to have? The other thing that Erin says about this intuitiveness that we have is that it makes us more conscious, it makes us more cautious, and it makes us wise. Some of you are probably thinking, no, my intuition, my gut feeling is wrong. It's not something I really want to listen to or believe, because lots of times it feels like we're judging people. A lot of times it feels like we are being the judge and the jury of people, but we don't have to be the jury. We just know that something's going on, something's not right. You have that ability to either talk about it or keep it inside. That allows us to be conscious of the world around us, conscious of everything that's happening to our families, to our friends, to our loved ones, and it gives us caution. We are very cautious people. Like, we're very aware of the dangers that lie ahead. We are very, very aware of that, and that makes us very wise. It makes us incredibly wise. We're not reckless and dangerous people. We are very thoughtful and we think about things. Even though sometimes we overanalyze things a lot, we do think things through. Sometimes we don't think it through before we do it, but we do always think it through. Even if it's something of a reaction, because a lot of highly sensitive people are reactionaries. As I said in one of my other videos that I haven't posted yet, the 3 R's, I haven't posted it yet. That'll be coming out soon, someday. It was only, video recorded 2 months ago, but, I'll get to it. We are very reactionary. And one of the things that Dr. Erin talked about when she realized that she was a highly sensitive person was her reaction to something that someone had done to her. She was like, whoa, where did that come from? Because she's an introvert. So she wasn't quite sure what this feeling was and why she reacted the way that she did. And she started getting a little bit more details about a highly sensitive person. And she's the one that really kind of came about doing a lot of scientific study for it, making it a reality for so many of us who are suffering. No, we don't have to suffer as a highly sensitive. That intuition is a really good, positive, wonderful gift that you can have. I just recommend that you listen to it. Don't overreact to it unless you're used to it and you really do know that your intuition is right. If you're just starting to trust your intuitions or you haven't before, take it really slow. Trust it enough to talk to a really good friend or your spouse, someone you really trust. With that gut feeling, talk to them about it. Just say, I don't know if this is true or not, but this is kind of what I'm feeling and what I think might be happening. And just see what happens. Start playing this out. Start letting that side of this gift of you become a strength and not a weakness, where you feel like, oh, I'm judging someone. Because I was always doing that, like, maybe I'm just judging people. No, it wasn't about judging. It was just about knowing right from wrong. And that's the other thing as an intuitive person. I mean, you really know the moral grounds. You really know that moral line that cannot be crossed. And you're very aware of that Highly sensitive people are very firm in their morals, their values, their ethics, their political standing. They are very, very strong-willed in what they believe. And there really is no way of trying to convince a highly sensitive person that they're wrong. And the thing about me as a highly sensitive person, I'm usually very rarely wrong. This is not pride speaking. This is absolute truth. And you can talk to anyone who knows me and they will tell you I am always spot on right. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. Woo, woo, I'm not. This is not the pride train. Okay, gay people, this is not for you. I'm not talking about your pride parade. Pride. This is not pride. I am usually, if I had to give myself a percentage, I would say I am about 85% right of most of the time. 85% of the time I'm right in what I'm saying or what I believe in or the facts that I'm presenting or the intuitions that I have. It is so, so, so rare. I almost want to say it's like 99% I'm right, but I do know that I'm wrong a lot. And the thing is that I don't care. I don't need to be right. That's the thing, is I don't need to be right. If I'm wrong, I really will say I'm wrong. And I don't care what that means. If it means I have to humble myself to my worst enemy, I will do it. And I've had to do that. Because it's not about being right for me. It's about doing what's right. To me, that's more important than being right, is doing what's right. And right now, in everything that I'm trying to do in my life, I'm trying to do right. And when I do something wrong, or I've made the wrong assumption, or I've had the wrong reaction, I will say that was really wrong of me. Really, I have no shame in that, and you shouldn't have shame in that either, because as a highly sensitive person, you're probably right most of the time. And I'm not saying that to boost you up and, you walk around like, see, I told you I was right. That's not what this is about. It's about, yes, you're right, but are you doing the right thing about being right? Because that's really what being right is all about, is that when you are right, you do right by others. You're not hurting people because you're right. You're not making a stink about it because you're right. You're not going to, shove it in someone's face that you're right. See, I told you I was right. See, you should have listened to me. But no, you don't listen to me. You think you know everything. I do that to my husband. Poor guy. You just have to learn how to start digging in, finding out if you're right or not. There's a scripture in the Bible that says to test the spirit. That if you get a word from the Lord, test the spirit. Test that word. Find out if it's true. And you just start digging. You start talking to people. You start asking. You look into the Bible. You start trying to find the facts. And that's what you have to do with your gut feelings, your intuitions. You have to start digging and finding out. You have to confide in somebody. You have to find out the facts. You have to know what's going on. And sometimes you already know that internally. Like, nobody even had to tell me that my brother-in-law was drinking. No matter who I tried to talk to about it, no one wanted to listen to me. No one wanted to hear the facts. Nobody wanted to know the truth. They would just, and I did a video on that about knowing the truth and how people just don't want the truth. They don't want to hear it. They would rather live in ignorance. Because as I said in that video, ignorance is bliss. So sometimes you are going to come up against a brick wall when you try to tell somebody, I got this feeling something's going on with so-and-so, and I really think we need to address it. You're going to get a lot of resistance. My husband didn't deal with this situation with his brother when I told him. He just didn't want to. He just didn't feel that anyone was going to listen to him. And that's the problem. He should have talked to the family about it, but he knew that if he did, he'd come against resistance. You're going to come against resistance. People are going to think you're full of hoo-ha, hooey. My mom used to say you're full of hooey. Whatever the heck hooey is. But you might be full of it. But you're going to know in the end whether you were right or not, as Elaine Aron says, Dr. Aron says in her book, most of the time you are going to be right, and you're finding that you are most often right. And again, it's not about being right. It's about doing right with what you know is right. Trust your gut. That's all I can say. I have a gut feeling that you want to subscribe. Is that true? Then you should. If you're a highly sensitive person, let me know how you're dealing with it. If you just need someone to vent to, put it in the comments, but be nice. Be nice. This is not a place for bullies, because as a highly sensitive person, I take it personally. So be very nice and very gentle, or I will cry. Or I'm gonna laugh. And I'll probably laugh, and I'll probably make a video mocking you. Okay, that's it. Subscribe.